Here.
Richard Kuhn's here. John Mui,
Here.
Frank Quinn,
Here.
and Chief Paul Smith,
Online.
and Karen Campbell, our city solicitor.
Here.
Okay. So we have the agenda, but as I said, Mr. Kelly, we're going to be doing some testing this week.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because
There was some feedback that caused some problems.
yeah, so some of the feedback, we don't know where it started from. I know that I had 2 systems up and running. That did cause some problems, but we're going to look at all the other issues related to this matter. And I very much appreciate that you've called in and you've held on to your patience. We're a little behind schedule, but that's all right. It's live streaming now. So, call to order. Declarations of conflict of interest. Any?
See none.
Okay. So, if you look at the agenda, some changes are being made under 6.1 Planning and Heritage. There's one resolution that we want to remove that resolution because the 2 parties did not have an opportunity to get together. 9 Pine Drive. And we want to add, if you go to 6.8, Public Works and Urban Beautification, it's to add one resolution, and it's relating to or regarding the Fitzroy Parkade.
Okay.
So I need a mover.
I'll move that, Your Worship.
Moved by Councillor McLeod,
I'll second it.
seconded by
Brevard.
Councillor Rivard. Okay, I take a roll call vote here. All those in favor? Alana?
In
Councillor
favor.
Yankoff, sorry, Councillor Yankoff.
In favor.
Councillor McLeod.
In favor.
Councillor Duffy.
In favor.
Councillor Tweel. Councillor Ramsey.
In favor.
Councillor Duran.
In favor.
Councillor Rivard.
In favor.
Deputy Mayor Cody.
In favor.
Councillor McKay.
In favor.
Councillor Bernard.
Favor.
Okay. Adoption of previous draft minutes. There are 2. The regular monthly meeting March 9th and special meetings open March 7th, 19th, 23rd, 25th, 30th, and April 2nd, 2020. Someone want to move them?
I'll move it.
Moved by Councillor Ramsey, seconded by
I'll second it.
Councillor Duffy. Okay. Okay. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
That's
Aye.
That's good.
In favor.
Okay. Business arising out of the minutes. Any issues, concerns? Okay. None. This is great. Okay. Reports of committees. 6.1 Planning and Heritage. Councillor Greg Rivard.
Thank you, Your Worship. This is going to be the shortest planning report that I'm going to probably do for my next 3 years. Anyways, the planning board committee did not meet in April. Position. There was a meeting on March 13th, and for the the planning board did meet on March 13th. For the minutes looked a little bit back on the 3rd, and they're in your response.
Councillor Rivard, could you just speak right into the mic? We can't get it that clearly. It's not that clear.
You guys are not hearing me well?
No.
That's good there.
That's good
Is
right
that better?
there.
That's much
Yeah, that's
better. Okay, sorry. Planning board met Friday, March 13th. Copies of the report are in your package. The Heritage Board did not meet in March, and the Design Review Board met also on March 13th. Copy of the Design Review minutes are in your package. We removed the one resolution that we did have on the agenda, so I have nothing to discuss tonight. So if anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Any questions?
Seeing none.
Excuse me? No questions. Okay. Okay, let's go on to strategic priorities in intergovernmental cooperation. Councillor Lana Yankoff.
Thank you, everybody. The Strategic Priorities and Intergovernmental Cooperation Committee did not meet since the last meeting of Council. The Affordable Housing Advisory Committee also did not meet, nor did the Youth Engagement Committee. There are no resolutions for your consideration, and but if anyone does have any questions, I will do my best to answer them.
Any questions? Okay. Hearing none, we'll go on to 6.3. Finance, Audit, and Tendering. Councillor Terry Bernard.
Thank you, Your Worship. As everybody knows, Your Worship, we passed the city budget on April the 2nd this month. Now, staff has been working, as we said during the budget speech, that we're trying to move on our RFQs and our tendering process. Happy to report that 15 RFQs/tenders have been prepared and have gone out to the public for pricing. And there's another 12 right now sitting in the hopper, Your Worship, ready to go. So in total, that's 27 of our RFQs/tenders that are ready to go.
Great.
Yep. So, Your Worship, other than that, I'll do my best to answer any questions anybody may have.
Any questions?
I have one, Your Worship.
Is that Councillor McLeod?
Yeah. Thanks, Councillor Bernard, for your report.
Yep.
So all of these tenders going out, these have all gone through the committees, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So there's like nothing's just because we've been away, we haven't missed anything, have we?
No. What will happen, Councillor McLeod? What happens is so once the budget's been approved, staff will do up the tenders. And then
Right.
once the tenders go out, once they close, it will go back to the committees and the finance committee, and the recommendation will be made before it goes to council.
Yeah. So these have all been ongoing business then. Okay. Good. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor McLeod. Any other
I'm
questions?
good. Thank you. I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, let's go on to
The good thing about the good thing about this is, and I'll just add to Councillor McLeod and the rest of council, is normally when the budget's passed, I mean, we have all our staff that are doing a lot of things, and sometimes the tendering or the RFQs get left till later. Being what's going on now, we have asked that the staff be diligent, and they have been. I know Steve McFadden, I'll point to Steve McFadden out. I know he's done an awful lot of work and got a lot of these tender documents done that would normally be hit on through the year. So we've got quite a head start, and I think this is what all council wanted, was
Right.
to be able to be ready when these health regulations start to get relaxed and we can start getting a lot of this stuff out. So pleased to say, like I say, that 15 of them have been out, and there's 12 more in the hopper, ready to go.
And Councillor McLeod, we're trying to get the standing committee meetings up and running
Right.
this week. So I know what you're saying. Either we do it by teleconference or Cisco WebEx. So it's all in the works.
Yeah. That's
And I
good.
think
Thank
that's
you.
why we have. And that's why we have the teams that are just set up. So,
Right.
I know finance will be meeting next week, Terry.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. Yeah, I think we are too. So yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Okay.
Good. Okay.
Perfect.
6.4, Human Resources, Communications and Administration. Councillor Julie McCabe.
Okay, thank you. Our Human Resource Communication Administration Committee have not met, of course. I think it's important that we take a second to thank all our managers and staff who are continuing to run the city operation during this unprecedented time, as well as to say thank you to Jennifer and Elisa in the Communications Department for keeping our residents so informed. If there's any questions, I'll do my best to answer.
Any questions?
Yeah, I have one.
Right ahead.
Just wondering, Councillor McCabe, has there been any discussion in your committee on staff that's due to come back, but due to the COVID-19, that we're not able to really bring them back yet. So has there been any discussion or a plan on how we're going to deal with that?
Thanks, Councillor Bernard. We haven't had any discussion on that matter yet. And John, do you have anything to add to that might be able to answer Councillor Bernard's question?
Yeah, I'm not aware of any staff in that situation right now.
So the intent is to add that to the next HR meeting, and that'll be brought forward from there.
Right on. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And Councillor Bernard, I know you're probably getting called, so am I, and other councillors, but my response is that if you're on EI, employment insurance, make sure that you go for the extended plan, because last Saturday the federal government passed the $72 billion aid package. Add that on to the other 57 billion. So just, they may not get it on the front end, but it might be on the back end. So we're trying our best to get everything up and operating. And I think, Mr. Kelly, have you spoken to the chief medical officer about how we can get things working?
There are a few things that we have spoken to the monitorship, and we continue to make sure we have greater clarity as to what is essential and what is not.
Is that all right, Councillor Bernard?
Yeah, just as long as the conversation being had and that we're getting ready. Obviously, with a day like today, there's going to be some people, getting a little antsy, and then I know safety's first. So I just want to make sure that the conversation's being had and some plans are being put in place.
Good point. Okay, Councillor McCabe.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor McCabe, that's it?
That's all I have.
Okay. Parks, recreation, and leisure activities. Councillor Tweel. Okay, so the vice chair of that committee is Councillor Bernard.
Yeah.
Did you want to?
Sure. Yeah. The Parks and Rec Committee did not meet in March. Included in your package of the draft minutes from the Senior Engagement Committee meeting that was held on March the 5th. There is one resolution for council consideration, and as everybody knows, the volunteer of the month has been suspended just until further notice. So there's one resolution, and I'll do my best to answer any questions.
Any questions on his report?
I have a question, Your Worship.
Yes, Councillor Duffy.
There seems to be kind of a disconnect between the backgrounder concerning the security in the parks versus the resolution. And it's just a minor one, but I think they should be brought into alignment with each other. The backgrounder for the resolution says, under recommendation, the last line, it says, further, that the contract can be extended for an additional 2 years if the city is satisfied with the service and the price remains the same. However, in the resolution, in the second paragraph, it says the city retains the option to extend the contract for 2021 and 2022 seasons at the same price if mutually agreed to. So in one document it says the city calls the shot. In the other document it says it has to be, any extension has to be mutually agreeable. So I think they both should say the same thing.
Yeah, I think in any of these standard agreements like this, it's usually both parties agree. So if obviously the security service in this particular case would have to agree to keep that same price over the next 2 years.
Yeah, that's the point. That's not reflected in the minutes, in the notation, the backgrounder.
Okay, but it's in the resolution. Okay, thank you.
Councillor Bernard, I think Mr. Kelly has something to clarify.
Does Frank, do you want to add anything to that issue, Frank?
Well, no, it's like you said, it leaves a little open. It sort of refers to it that the city is the only one that has to be satisfied, but the city and the security firm both have to be satisfied.
So are we at Parks and Rec already?
Yes, we are.
Oh, jeez.
Councillor Tweel.
Well, there was confusion here with the numbers to phone in. I used the numbers that I got back a few weeks ago. And with Jason, I just texted Jason, and he sent me the new version of the number. So we're at Parks and Rec already.
And we're at the resolution for the security.
Okay. So what were the questions?
No, that the question Councillor Duffy had a question about the resolution in the backgrounder.
It was just a typo. It's been rectified. It was just a typo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to read the resolution?
Yes, Your Worship. Moved by Councillor Trio, sent by Councillor Bernard, that as per the recently advertised request for proposals for the 2020 security patrol for City Parks and Victoria Park, the City of Charlottetown accepts the low bid of $43,037.60, HST included, from Neptune Security Services for security patrol services, and that the city retains the option to extend the contract for the 2021-2022 seasons at the same price if mutually agreed to, and that this amount be expensed to the 2020-2021 Parks and Recreation operations budget, and further that the mayor and CEO are hereby authorized to execute standard contract agreements to implement this resolution.
Do you have anything to add to that, Councillor Trio?
No, maybe, Frank, could you enlighten me? Is that 7 days a week, or is that the status quo where it's only 4 days a week?
That is the status quo. As it says in the backgrounder, it goes 4 days at Victoria Park, and then it goes 7 days a week, the City Patrol one, the one that goes to all the parks.
Well, as you know, we were looking at expanding the security in Victoria Park 7 days a week due to the fact there's a tremendous amount of people there during that 7 day period, as well as people there all day long. So I guess that's something we'll revisit when we have our next Parks and Recreation Committee meeting.
Okay, Frank?
Sure, that is something we can discuss again at the meeting. Yeah, so we put forward the 4 days, which is status quo budget and what was approved. But yeah, we can looking at the other 3 days.
And
Yeah.
it started.
I tell you guys, I mean, we approved the budget here on April 2nd. This is what the money was approved in the budget. So.
Well, that's true, Terry. But as you know, last year, towards the end of last summer, we were talking about expanding the security for a 7 day period. In fact, correct me if I'm wrong, we even sent a request off to finance. So we'll deal with that at the next Parks meeting.
So Frank, it starts May 14th. Can't start any earlier?
This is what we normally do. So this is the normal service we do, Your Worship. So it starts May 14th in Victoria Park, and it starts June 1st, the citywide one for the citywide parks.
Okay. Question?
I have a
Sorry,
question, Your Worship.
Go ahead.
Just a question on the citywide one. Is there any tracking done as to what parks they go to, what evening or what time? Is any of that ever done?
Frank?
Yes, Councillor McLeod, it actually is. It's tracked. They track every evening which parks they go, what time they go, if there's any incidents, and they report it back to us on a daily basis, and they also provide us with a monthly report.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you very much.
You know what, Your Worship?
We're listening.
Or Councillor Tweel, it might be nice to have that information in the binder.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
We will forward that information and make sure that it's in the package on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
Is that all right, Frank?
Yeah, it actually, Your Worship, it actually indicates that in the backgrounder. It has daily reports, including incidents, will be provided to the Parks Office, and monthly summaries will be submitted to the department the first day of each month.
And forwarded the
I
council
think we're
packages?
looking to have it in the binder.
Okay.
That's correct. No, we'll put that in the binders so that all members of council can read that on a monthly basis. If they have any questions, they can ask the questions at the council meeting.
Okay. Question? Okay. Question called?
Question called.
Okay. Councillor Yankoff?
In favor.
Councillor McLeod?
In favor.
Councillor Duffy?
In favor.
Councillor Tweel?
In favor.
Councillor Ramsey?
In favor.
Councillor Duran?
In favor.
Councillor Rivard?
I'm in favor.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Cody?
In favor.
Councillor McKay?
In favor.
And Councillor Bernard?
In favor.
Okay. Anything else there, Councillor Tweel, for the report?
No, just want to bring council up to date that by shutting the inside lane off, for the month of April, a month earlier, we received a tremendous amount of positive feedback. So it's a credit to all members of council for taking that initiative.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, can we move on to our next item? And I think that is Protective and Emergency Services, sir, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Councilor Duran, did you want to provide any background?
No, the Protective Emergency Services Committee did not meet, just like all other committees. We have one resolution for your consideration. It's for the trucks for the fire department. All the information that was included in the package to outline the tenders. So if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them as best I can.
Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Councilor Tweel?
Thank you. Councilor Duran, thank you for your report. As you know, we've had several discussions concerning the reintroduction of the traffic division with the police department, and to offer that feature to the residents of the city of Charlottetown, so that we can have more of a focus for speeding being closely monitored in the neighborhoods, neighborhood parks, and the school zones. And I'm wondering if there is a plan of action that the police department is going to be presenting to City Council at future meetings, so we can bring that much-needed services to the citizens of Charlottetown.
Councilor Duran.
Thank you for your question, Councillor Tweel. We have discussed this on many occasions in the council chambers, and then during budget time. We are looking for extra police to put into a traffic unit. You know, with the new initiative this year, they've been put on hold until the pandemic has been dealt with and hopefully gets over soon. Then we'll be able to sit down and come up with a plan. Our committee hasn't discussed it as of yet, but during the budget time, like I said, we've all discussed it, what we can do moving forward. I think we discussed that the traffic unit, it's not going to happen with taking a person off each shift. I think it was well documented by the police chief that he gave a quite in-depth paper to us all outlining the policemen and how they can all work towards traffic. I mean, I think the city's grown in leaps and bounds, and we need more people to attend to these things. You know, every week it's something new. You know, with the drug situation or with the traffic situation or, you know, the call volume, you know, all these things have to come into play. So, you know, we'll be sitting down when this gets over and we'll try to come up with a plan, but I'm really trying to push for extra bodies when the new initiatives come rolling out.
Councillor Tweel, second time.
Second time. I got another issue, but I want to finish this one up. Councilor Duran, could you put this on your agenda for your next committee meeting, and see if there's a possibilities of looking at your current budget to see if we can at least get the program started. I mean, there's a certain amount of resources that are currently in that budget, at the police committee budget. So the budget eliminated, or the traffic division was eliminated a few years ago, and you had that budget. So the monies must be there, or otherwise it's reverted into other line items. But nonetheless, I can't stress and state how important it is to bring back that traffic division. The second item I want to bring up, Councilor Duran, is, as you mentioned, the drug issue, getting lots of concerns, lots of anxiety about the drug houses. People are requesting that action be taken by the police department and they're looking for that action to unfold. As you know, we spend a lot of money with programs like Make Your Hometown Beautiful. We have Communities in Bloom that we spend a tremendous amount of money over the years. We promote the city being a heritage city, a great place to live, and yet we're plagued by a number of these drug houses, and the people are very frustrated in the affected neighborhoods. And I can tell you that there's a tremendous amount of concern and demand for action to be taken. So can we see some action here over the next 30 days?
Councillor Drawn.
Well, thank you, Councillor Tweel. I mean, it's every week there's a different issue. Spring will be coming here soon. There'll be break-ins at various outdoor sheds, and people will be upset about that. It's a new issue every week, and the police are stressed to the max right now, as I think they are. I've been getting emails that, the police are not in my area, or a certain councillor will call me and say, can they do patrols in my area? Well, yes, they're doing the patrols as best they can. There's only a certain amount of policemen to every shift. And like I say, any suggestion, I can certainly bring it up at the committee level to see if there's an answer for it. But like I say, there's so many people, so many issues to deal with, and they're trying to do the best they can with what they have. So again, I ask for council's help in the new initiatives when they come forward to see if we can get more boots on the street and get these issues cleaned up as quickly as we can.
Councillor Duran, attending the municipal EMO meetings, I know that the police chief, and he can add too, is that the COVID-19 pandemic is putting a lot of stress in the force too. So, Councillor Tweel, we're just, again, appreciate where you're coming from in this, because I've heard of it too, but I think right now our concentration is on the COVID-19 pandemic and what the police, fire, and all the other services are doing to at least calm the waters.
Yeah. Just on that, Your Worship, with respect to the EMO and the minutes that the CAO has been sending all members of council, do we get an opportunity to ask a question with regards to those committee meetings?
Yes, you do.
Okay. Well, here's the question.
Well,
I did.
Councillor Tweel, could you? There's a meeting on Thursday. Could you phone in on Thursday?
Okay.
Or can you email the question to
I did email the question. I didn't get a response.
Did you email it to me or Mr. Kelly?
I sent it to, I did send it to the CAO. I sent it regarding the April 2nd meeting, and it was with respect to social distancing.
Yes.
And the issue is that social distancing, as I understand to be correct, it is not part of the public health order. It's just a recommendation.
No, it's part of the order, sir, and it's also coming from the chief medical officer for the country, and physical distancing of 6 feet or 2 meters is being enforced. And
well, I'll tell you what I encourage you to go back and read the October 2nd minutes of the meeting, where it says that social distancing is not part of the public health order. It's just a recommendation. I'm looking for a clarification.
Okay, so I know the email you're talking about. We'll get that sent off to the chief medical officer, and her recommendation.
Yeah, I'd like a clarification, because I believe, like everyone else in this province, social distancing is mandatory and compulsory.
Yeah, it is. But we'll get a written response from the chief medical officer, or I think it's Ryan Neal is the team member. Thank you, sir.
You.
So
thank you.
We're going to put the resolution up.
Can I just ask a question on the resolution, or do I do that after you read it?
Can we put the resolution on the floor first?
Sure. I do have some questions before the resolution comes to us.
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Councillor Duran, I'm just wondering, I also agree with Councillor Tweel and watch to see how this plays out on the traffic division. And right now, obviously, it's not really working, I guess. So we're looking to increase the safety in our community streets and in the neighborhoods, and that's what we're hearing a lot about. And so when I go back a number of years ago, when the police report came out, we did have a traffic unit. It was recommended to seeing the traffic unit in with all the police officers' other work. I think the RCMP tried to do that too, and it turns out now that it doesn't work because the street patrol doesn't become priority anymore. There's other things they're working on that become priority. So years ago, whenever they disbanded the traffic unit, I believe there was 4, if not 5 officers in that traffic unit then. And so now the new initiative that you're talking about is a $400,000 ask starting off, and it'll increase every year after that. Not sure if we're going to even have that money. So to me, it's opposed to looking at see what's going to happen in new initiatives and look for support for that, knowing that we don't have that much money. And I wonder. I believe the number is 62 or 63 officers we have for the city of Charlottetown. It would probably be somewhat useful to have a look at other municipalities and just see what the numbers are for municipalities similar to our size, and that should tell you if you need more or not. But I think that with the officers that we have, management could probably put a traffic unit together. You're talking about 4 officers. The other thing that I'm really concerned about is I'm just, as everybody knows, nothing can destroy a beautiful neighborhood as quickly as people selling drugs out of the house. Yeah. You can have a real nice neighborhood, and all of a sudden you got somebody moves in, they start selling drugs out of the house. You got cars coming and going all the time. You got young kids in the neighborhood, and it just can ruin that neighborhood. And I'm just wondering, do you have any updates of what's being done to try and alleviate that? And I know it's, the courts have a role to play here, and I know, I'm sure the officers are doing what they can, but it's not working. And I'm wondering if there have been any discussion on that and how we can clamp down on these selling drugs out of residential neighborhoods. People in the neighborhoods know them. They know where they are. And I just wonder where the roadblocks may be and what we need to do to be able to put a stop to this.
Councillor Duran?
Yeah, well, thank you very much for your questions, Councillor Bernard. It wasn't just a month or two ago that we passed a resolution on the floor here to work with the province to see what we could do in regards to seizing drug houses, if that's the role we want to get into. It was deemed a number of years ago, I'd say more than 10, that the traffic unit wasn't feasible or wasn't doing the job that they thought it would be. So, like I say, with the city growing in leaps and bounds and more demands on our officers, there's certainly a major crime department. Now there's a street crime unit that they're trying to deal with drugs, and officers are trying to do their due diligence when it comes to traffic. I mean, it's easy to sit here and pick and choose what we'd like to do, and there's all serious questions about it. Traffic, I had people speeding down my street all the time. So, I mean, we're stressed, I think, to the max. And to have a magical answer that, me as a councillor can sit here and say, well, we should be doing that. Well, if you take the resources away from one department or one group of officers doing the job, it's going to hurt the others. So, I guess we could put it to the chiefs and the deputies to come up with a plan to see what we could do. But, if we're taking a man or a woman off each shift to do traffic, that could certainly free up officers to do other things. But is that going to hurt the load that the drugs are at, or assaults or things like that? So I guess
maybe
we'll put it back on the chief and the deputy to come up with a plan. But the plan that we discussed at our committee level was to ask for more help, more officers.
So maybe what we could do, Councillor Drawn, is once this COVID-19 slows down and we get some of the medical guidelines relaxed, that we could have a meeting of all of council and your senior management staff, and they can explain, where we are with bodies, what the bodies are doing, and what the possibilities are as far as setting up some of these traffic unit and looking at the drug situation. The drug situation is a scary one, and so it'd be nice to get your management team in at least just to explain to us what's been going on and what's being done, and if there's anything we can do.
Councillor Duran?
Yeah, I mean that's certainly a good question. We could work on that. I'd ask the chief to send out the letter regarding the traffic unit once again. He wrote up a great letter there a number of months ago that certainly explained their traffic section. But I mean, the drugs are a major thing, and maybe we can work with the RCMP as well on these things. And I know the city officers do frequently work with the RCMP, and they use each other in positive ways. So, I guess the best thing we can do is to sit down at the next committee level and address these two situations as best we can.
Councillor Duran,
go ahead.
Councillor Duran, you know that we did send the letter to Minister of Agriculture, Blois Thompson, who's also the AG, the Attorney General, on the civil forfeiture law. So they have that, and we're waiting for a response from them. But could we just get some input or feedback from the chief of police? Is that all right with you, Councillor Duran?
Sure, yeah. I mean, we could wait to our committee meeting, or he could send it to you to give you an update on it.
Okay.
I mean, certainly, he's certainly eager to share information if whatever you want.
Chief of Police Paul Smith, do you have anything to add? Chief Paul, are you there? Or did we lose him? Chief Paul Smith?
Yeah, I'm here, Your Worship. I will recirculate the memo that we drafted a few months back with regard to the status on the previous traffic unit and where we are now. I can get that out in the next day or so to all members of council, and we can prep some stuff for another meeting down the road.
And can we get a follow-up on the letter to the Minister, Blois Thompson, on the civil forfeiture law?
We haven't had anything back from them at this point, Your Worship. The likelihood is the current situation has probably delayed everything.
Correct. Okay, so we're going to move on to the resolution, and then are there a couple of questions?
Your Worship, I do have a question. It's Councillor Rivard here.
Councillor Rivard, go ahead.
Okay, Councillor Duran, thanks for your report. And I apologize if I mix up committees here. I think this is kind of a big problem. But I'm gonna look under you for the bylaw officer. With the marijuana facility out in West Royalty, there's numerous complaints about the odor that is coming from that plant that can travel upwards of 2 to 3 kilometers, and it smells pretty rank, like a skunk. And again, it depends which way the wind blows. It depends who gets it. I'm wondering if that would fall under the nuisance bylaw, if that's something that can be looked at through police, if that's something that maybe it's an environment, maybe it's even a planning issue, maybe that is part of a development agreement. I don't know, but I'm wondering if maybe all forces can get together and review that.
Councillor Rivard, at the FCM last year in Quebec City, I went to the workshop on legalization of marijuana, and in BC, where they have almost 20 million square feet of hydroponic grow or greenhouse grow, that is the biggest issue in the rural areas. So what they're looking at is that they close the vent windows during the day and open them at night. That was one of the solutions. I don't know. We can learn from other municipalities by contacting them, but it is a problem.
It's a huge problem for the residents out in West Royalty, especially the ones on Hurry Road and in the Sandalwood subdivision. They're pretty close in proximity to the facility, and again, even today with the wind blowing the way it was, they can't even open up their windows to their house without having that very distinct smell of marijuana, almost like a skunk.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Wow.
Councillor Duran, did you want to follow up on that, or do we want to do it from Mr. Kelly's office?
I could certainly contact a fire officer, but we're at limited staffing right now because
We can't hear you.
I can certainly contact our bylaw officer to see if he can look into the situation and to see if it's under his jurisdiction on that, Councillor Rivard. Right now, we're at a decreased amount of staff due to the virus going around. So he's only working certain days. So just give it a few days. I'll see what he thinks and see if this does come under our jurisdiction.
And I appreciate that, Councillor John, and maybe we can have Peter Kelly, the CAO, look into maybe where that would fall or whose department that would fall under. Maybe it's, I guess, a combination of a few. I mean, it could be part of planning as well. It could be part of the development agreement. I'm not 100% sure, but if I can have Alex check into that, you check into the police side of the bylaw, and maybe even environment. I don't know.
And Councillor Rivard, we'll look at going to BC Federation of Municipalities because they're dealing with it. It's a big issue.
Yeah, no, it is. Anyway, thank you.
No problem. I just have one other
questions?
question for Councillor Drawn. I do, yeah.
Councillor Bernard?
Yeah. Councillor Drawn?
Yes,
just before this is read out, I'm just curious, the resolution, the trucks, do you know what the trucks are being used for, the 2 3/4 ton and the half ton?
No, they're all for the fire department there. I would have thought they went to finance, but I mean, I can ask Chief McDonald to give you clarification.
He's on the phone.
What's that?
He's there if you need him there, Councillor Drawn.
I just want to know what they're being used for, that's all.
Chief Randy McDonald?
Yes, go ahead.
Can you give us some background?
Absolutely. Councillor Bernard, you see 3 trucks here. The first one is a 3/4 ton, the crew cab. That's to replace the existing Rescue 2 at Station 2. So what they'll be doing is they'll be taking the rescue equipment off of Rescue 2, because it's timed out, that truck is timed out, and they'll be putting that equipment on Engine 3. And they'll be creating Engine 3 as a rescue pumper. That's how they'll be setting that up, that truck. Your next truck...
So you say the outfit is on Rescue 3?
No, the rescue equipment will be coming off of Rescue 2 and be going on to Engine 3. We're saving
Engine 3, okay.
the money here by doing this.
Yeah, okay.
Your next truck, it's a 3/4 ton 4-wheel drive regular cab. That's to replace the 2005 Dodge that's sitting here at Station 1 now. It's already gone through a body job. It's over 15 years old. So the next.
What do you use it for?
That hauls the boat. It also looks after the smoke alarm campaign in the summertime, and it's pretty well a catch-all. A lot of times the guys will use it for running air bottles back and forth to fire scenes. So it does a lot of work for us.
Okay.
Your next truck, see it as a half-ton 4x4. Problem we're running into is that we've got 2 fire inspectors, and they're using their personal vehicle, and that's probably not a proper way for a fire department to be doing enforcement work. So it came forward that we needed another vehicle.
Okay.
So that's the request, the history of the 3 trucks.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Good.
Yeah, thank you.
Councillor McCabe, you might as well ask your question before we put the resolution up. Did you have a question about the resolution?
Well, I did when I was just looking at the quotes, because I see that between Hillside and Summerside, there's not a whole lot of difference in where we granted one. Like, I think it's even less than $1,000 or just $1,000 in one of the differences. And I guess I would like to see us be able to support our Charlottetown businesses for sure.
Fully agree.
To see that, but and maybe if we're going to purchase 3, that they would, because there's a $5,000 difference in the biggest gap. But if you're purchasing 3, there might be a little bit more negotiation that would happen. I just don't, if we can at all justify coming to Charlottetown, I think we should be supporting locally.
Thank you. That's a great idea, but I think when it goes to tender, we have no real choice. I think they put it out, and whoever gets the lowest tender, that's what we're mandated to go with, unless we change the tendering process, I'm sure. But I don't know what to say to that.
No, I appreciate that, but I think we have talked about this before.
Yeah. Councillor Bernard?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that we have talked about before, and it's you know, we're tied to the NGA and we're tied to the procurement policy, and that's pretty much ties our hands is my understanding. So unless you have a reason not to accept the lowest tender, then you in this case you'd have to go with it. And it is unfortunate. I agree with Councillor McKay that we should do our best to support the local, especially with what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
So this never had an opportunity to come to finance, only basically this afternoon. But I am led to believe that you know, with the new NGA that all municipalities are following, that you go with the lowest tender unless there's a reason you can't.
And Councillor Bernard.
Yeah.
Reliable Motors didn't bid on it because of all the add-ons, and as you know, they have a large property tax bill for their facility out there. So I guess we have to have a discussion further on or in the future about what we want to do.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I think you've built for discussion, but I mean, at the end of the day, you know, you may want to talk to legal, but my understanding is through the MGA and through the procurement policy, that's what we're signed up with. That unless there's a reason not to accept the lowest bid, and I can understand what Councilor McKay's saying when it's so close. But right now, we're just following the rules that were set out by the provincial government for us to follow.
No, that makes sense. Sorry, I just...
No, that's good. Good point. Councillor Duran and Councillor Ramsey, we're going to read the resolution, Mr. Kelly.
Sure. Your worship, moved by Councillor Duran, second by Councillor Ramsey, that as per the conditions of the request for quote on one new 3/4-ton four-wheel drive crew cab truck, March 2020, the submission of Summerside Chrysler Dodge in the amount of $80,489.65, applicable taxes included, be accepted, and that as per the conditions of the request for quote on one new 3/4-ton four-wheel drive regular cab truck, March 2020, the submission of Hillside Motors in the amount of $58,975.45, applicable taxes included, be accepted, and that as per the conditions for the request for quote on one new half-ton four-wheel drive regular cab truck, March 2020, the submission of Summerside Chrysler Dodge in the amount of $51,822.45, applicable taxes included, be accepted, and further that the mayor and CEO are hereby authorized to issue standard contract agreements to implement this resolution. Motion.
Question?
Question called.
Councillor McLeod, question called. Councillor Yankoff. Councillor Yankoff? Okay. Councillor McLeod?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Councillor Yankoff, yea or nay?
In favor.
Councillor McLeod?
In favor.
Councillor Duffy?
In favor.
Councillor Tweel?
No.
Councillor Ramsey?
In favor.
Councillor Duran?
In favor.
Councillor Rivard?
In favor.
Deputy Mayor Cody?
In favor.
Councillor McKay?
In favor.
Councillor Bernard?
In favor.
Okay, 9-1 carried. Okay, hold on. Councillor Bernard. Okay. Okay. Is that it, Mr. Councillor Duran?
Yes, that's it for me.
Thank you, sir. Okay, let's go to water and sewer. Deputy Mayor Cody, do you have anything to report, sir?
No, thank you, Your Worship. Our committee didn't get a chance to meet. We do have one resolution for council's consideration. But before we get to that, if I could just say a quick thank you to the utility department during this COVID-19 pandemic. You know, keeping our water flowing and sanitary systems up to date and working. It's one less thing for residents to have to worry. So I just wanted to say thank you to the utility workers.
I can echo that because Richard McEwen, he's practicing this physical distancing, 6 feet, 2 meters. You can't even get within his circle. And he's down there every day with Pauline and the others, and I appreciate it too. So thank you for those comments. So can we read the resolution? Or any questions?
Could I just have a quick question?
Go right ahead, sir. Councilor Duran.
Thank you for your report, Councilor Cody. I did discuss this last week there when a notice came out about the amount of money we're looking for, and it's well explained in the letter we received in our package. It's there was a concern there. I guess we attempted to save some money, which is a smart idea. But when you look at it, 26 attempts on 3 different techniques. It seems to be a lot of money that we were looking for. It just was a concern. Why we kept going back trying to save that money when it was unsuccessful. I don't know. We never got a chance to discuss it at the committee level, so I'm not sure what kind of answer I'm asking or looking for. But can you expand on that at all, Deputy Mayor Cody?
Well, I agree. It's a lot of attempts, but I guess it was the best way for the project to move forward financially and just simplistically. But I mean, at the end of the day, it didn't work, and we're kind of where we're at. It was a much needed project out in East Royalty. So,
Deputy Mayor,
I have a question for Councilor Cody.
Deputy Mayor, do you want Richard to provide any background? Richard's here.
Sure.
Richard's going to give a bit of background on this. Councilor Duran.
Thank you.
So thank you for the question. We were looking to save $500,000. So we were quite interested in following that route. It would have saved money on the capital side as well as our ongoing operations. And we did try, as noted, 3 different techniques. And in the end, we weren't successful, and that's when we stopped. We were at half of the value of the savings when we did stop.
And I think if I could add something, Your Worship.
Go right ahead, sir.
Councilor Cody, if I'm not mistaken, this is a program that's 75% come from the federal government, 25% from the city. So there's $308,000. It's actually 25% of that we would come from city funds. Is that correct?
Yeah, this project was funded that way. You're right.
So this is actually $75,000 of city dollars.
Go ahead.
Thereabouts.
Repeat that there, Councillor Bernard.
So it's for city dollars. It's around the $75,000 mark.
Is that right, Richard?
Yes, the city is responsible for 1/4 of the value.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And Richard, is that
so
provincial and federal?
Yeah. Okay.
Councillor Bernard, that's a combination of provincial and federal funding that amounts to about, is it 77% or 75?
75.
75. So it's a combination of
But
both
I just
levels.
want to make it clear. It doesn't say that in the resolution. I just want to make it clear that $308,000 is not coming from the city coffers. It's 25% of that.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Any questions? You want to read the resolution there, Mr. Kelly?
Yes, Your Worship. Moved by Deputy Mayor Cody, second by Councilor Bernard. Whereas the city of Charlottetown awarded the tender for East Royalty Lagoon interconnection, lift station, and force main in the amount of $2,609,670.57, HST included, on September 10th, 2018. And whereas the contractor was requested to attempt an alternative route for the force main under Wrights Creek, which unfortunately was unsuccessful, be resolved that the contract value be increased by $308,312.24, HST included, to cover the costs associated with the alternate route attempt, and further that the mayor and CEO are hereby authorized to execute standard contract agreements as to implement this resolution.
Question?
Question called.
Question called by Councilor Bernard. Councilor Yankoff.
In favor.
Councillor McLeod.
In favor.
Councillor Duffy.
In favor.
Councillor Twill.
In favor.
Councillor Ramsey.
In favor.
Councillor Durant.
Not in favor.
What's that?
No, not in favor.
Okay. Councillor Revert.
In favor.
Councillor Deputy Mayor Cody.
In favor.
Councillor McCabe.
In favor.
Councillor Bernard.
In favor.
9-1. Okay. Hold on just one second. Anything else there, Deputy Mayor Cody?
No, that's it, Your Worship.
Okay, Councillor. Okay. Next report is Public Works and Urban Beautification. Councillor Michael Duffy.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have nothing to report. We didn't have a chance to meet this last month as a result of all the things that are going on. We had a press release that did go out last Thursday. I assume everybody's read it. It's on our website and in the press. Basically, giving an up-to-date report of where the city stands with their spring cleanup and what we're waiting for, which is the go-ahead by the government to start our activities as long as they are within the boundaries set out by the province. So we're ready to go just as soon as we get the word, but we're not going to put any of our staff or our employees in any sort of risk area. So we'll just stand by and await the word. I have no resolutions for your consideration. I'll answer any questions that you may have.
Councillor Duffy, there is one resolution.
Oh, there is?
About the addition to the Fitzroy Parkade.
Oh, okay.
Do you have a copy of it?
I'm sorry?
It should be in your package. Oh, in your email.
It's not in my package. It's not under planning in my package.
No, sorry, sir. It was sent to your email as an addendum.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It was just today, sir.
Okay. So we have one resolution. I think the details of that particular project are with Mr. Kelly. Maybe Mr. Kelly could inform council of the extension onto the parkade.
Yeah, but just before we do that, are there any questions to Councillor Duffy in regards to Public Works and beautification? Any questions? Okay. Mr. Kelly, can you explain it?
Yes, Bishop. This is for the foundation work that needs to be put in place prior to the beams coming over from Nova Scotia and the expansion to be complete. So this is, of course, a very important part in order to move forward, and we're just trying to get it ready once things are able to move forward.
That's it.
And the motion is moved by Councillor Duffy, second by Councillor Bernard, that as per the conditions of the tender for the Fitzroy Parkade addition, the submission of WM&M 1993 Limited in the amount of $709,550, all taxes included, be accepted. That this expenditure has been approved in the 2020-2021 capital budget dated February 6, 2020, in the amount of $1.5 million, net of anticipated partner funding of $1.3 million, and that the mayor and CEO are hereby authorized to execute any standard contract agreements to implement this resolution, Your Worship.
Any questions to the resolution? Question for the resolution? Call the question?
No question called.
Call the question. Okay, Councillor Ramsey. Okay, Councillor Yankov?
In favor.
Councillor McLeod?
In favor.
Councillor Duffy?
In favor.
Councillor Twill?
In favor.
Councillor Ramsey?
In favor.
Councillor Durant?
In favor.
Councillor Revert?
In favor.
Deputy Mayor Cody?
In favor.
Councillor McCabe?
In favor.
Councillor Bernard?
Your Worship, just before I do vote, what is the expected completion date?
Oh, it's been changed quite a bit, but give them a little background there, Mr.
So depending upon when the COVID-19 issues subside, the beams coming over from the Bedford plant is held up until that's clarified, and so it was supposed to be done in April start date, but that may be pushed off depending upon the overall situation.
So, but what's the expected completion date?
It's about 8 weeks or 8 to 10
Okay,
weeks,
right on.
depending upon when that starts.
Yeah, so 10-week project. Okay, thank you. I'm
So
in favor. Yeah.
Yeah, so the precast elements are already made.
Yes.
Everything's made. Okay. In favor there, Councillor Bernard?
Yes.
Thank you. Anything else there, Councillor Duffy?
No, that's it, Your Worship.
Thank you very much. Economic Development, Tourism, and Event Management, Councillor Kevin Ramsey, Ward 5.
Thank you, Your Worship. We met on March 10th, and the open draft minutes are in your package. The Arts Advisory Board also met on March 10th, and the open minutes are in your package. And I have a little note here, Your Worship. On a positive note of things going on these days, I'm extremely pleased to announce that we get the phone call last night that Charlottetown is the top-ranked city in Canada again for a population under 50,000 for hosting sporting events. Charlottetown once again ranked 6th overall in the country, and they're topped only by large cities, Montreal, Edmonton, Toronto, Ottawa. And I'd like to thank Wayne Long, Laurel Lee, and Charlotte Nicholson for the free community for the capital city. Our group is also working from home, as you know, these days, and they're working with downtown Charlottetown, and everything's been put on hold, and things are working. It's going to be moving on forward next year, and a further date, summer being canceled, but they're working hard. We're getting phone calls every day. Wayne keeps me in contact. Ron keeps me in contact every day. Ron's working very hard with other companies that are looking to come to Charlottetown, and we're in contact, as I keep saying, every day. So we're on the ball, and we're just hoping when this thing goes over, we start running with it and get people back in Charlottetown. That's it, Your Worship.
Any questions?
Just a comment, Your Worship.
Yes. Go ahead.
Just want to congratulate Chair Ramsey and his staff. I mean, it's not that easy to be number one in the country. This is 2 years in a row for us, and I believe last year 3 years in a row. Not easy. You don't become number one by sitting home. You do got to get out to these bidding wars. You do got to show up. So congratulations to you, Kevin, and again to your staff, because it's a proud moment, especially when it's 3 in a row. No small feat. I think last year, if memory serves, were we not number 3 or 4 when we compared to the big cities also?
Kevin?
Yes, we were.
Yeah, so,
yes, we were.
So, yeah, so kudos, and like I say, that doesn't happen from sitting home. I mean, you got to get out and go after these things, and so, yeah, congratulations.
Fully agree.
Thank you very much.
Fully agree with you, Councillor Bernard. Staff, great job. The committee's doing a great job under the chairperson role of Councillor Ramsey. So well done, Councillor Ramsey. Just one quick follow-up. I did get some calls about the cleanup from the Jack Frost down at the Federation Landing Park. What's the status?
Wayne, would you like to get involved in that?
Sure. Chair Ramsey, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. So Capital City Events, Inc. is the organization responsible for the Jack Frost Winterfest. They are working directly with CADC as the property manager and operator, and have remained in constant communication. The original plan was to move all of the snow out of there at the end of the festival, but as you will recall, we got some mild weather on an ongoing pattern, alternating from cold to warm, which created some difficulties to move larger pieces of equipment in there. So CADC had indicated in the end that they would rather wait for the spring melt, and then Capital Cities Events Inc. would go back in and clean up that parking lot. So it's between Capital Cities Events Inc. and CADC.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Any other questions? Thank you, Kevin. Councillor Ramsey.
I'm just curious. I am curious, Your Worship. One more thing, if I could.
Go ahead.
Is there anything that the chair or any of your staff would say that the city of Charlottetown moving ahead could use or should have to stay number one in the game, or to make sure we continue to be a player? Is there any downfalls at the city of Charlottetown that we should be looking at?
Councillor Ramsey?
It's a good question, Councillor Bernard. You know, as a small city, we certainly work hard and are very creative in terms of our attraction efforts. One of the challenges is being small is that you're competing against large destinations with big pockets of money on the national scene. And as we move out of this COVID-19 period, you're going to see those pockets of money elevate. There's a lot of work being done at the federal level right now through the Canadian Sport Tourism Alliance, through Destination Canada, through the Tourism Industry Association of Canada. So our biggest challenge moving forward will be resources, not only monetary, but from a staff perspective, and the ongoing champion and support of council.
Right on. Okay.
Councillor Bernard, we will have lots of challenges this summer with how this pandemic is playing out, so it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays itself out.
Well, that's why I think it's important to see if there's any negatives that we need to correct. I mean, if there's ever a year you want to get as much coming to the city of Charlottetown as you can, this is it. And so just if staff sees any kind of deficiencies that we should be looking at, then we'd like to get a head start on it. That's all.
Thank you, sir.
We'll keep you informed on that, Councillor Bernard.
Someone want to give a question there? Who's that?
Oh no, I just told him we'll keep him informed.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. I think Wayne's going to say something there.
Wayne.
Oh, sorry, Wayne.
Sorry, it's just a delay. I was just going to alert council to the fact that our team has been working very hard with events that have been impacted, and I'm pleased to report that we have secured 4 or 5 of the big major events that we lost over the past couple of months or into June, to secure them for another year down the road. So we are working hard to try to minimize the risk and having good success with that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There's a lot going on. Thank you, Wayne. Thank you. Okay, Environment and Sustainability. Councillor Terry McLeod.
Thank you, Your Worship. Environment and Sustainability Committee did not meet since the last time Council met. The Mayor's Task Force on Active Transportation did meet on March 10th. Minutes are in your package. And there's one resolution for Council's consideration. And any questions, I'll do my best to answer.
Any questions on Councillor McLeod's report? Mr. Kelly, you want to read the resolution?
Your Worship, moved by Councillor McLeod, second by Councillor Bernard, that CPCL be awarded the engineering services bypass highway multi-use path extension tender in the amount of $69,000, taxes included, and that this be expensed out of the 2020-2021 city capital budget, and further that the Mayor and CEO are hereby authorized to execute the standard contract agreements to implement this resolution, Your Worship.
Okay. Any questions for Councillor McLeod?
Your Worship.
Yes, Councillor Deputy Mayor Cody.
Yeah, it's not the low bid. I know it's only $500, but just going back on the conversation we had about the trucks for protective services, what's the rationale on this one?
Councillor McLeod or Ramona Doyle? What do you want to do, Councillor McLeod?
Well, I'll try and explain, and then if I have questions that I can't answer, I'll pass it on to Ramona. But basically, we received the submissions and went through the proper scoring process, lined up with finance, and although they were $500 more, they scored much higher on the other points of the financing. So if Ramona wants to add in there, she's more than welcome. But that's there was other points besides price that comes into this, and if Ramona wants to explain that, she's more than welcome.
Ramona Doyle.
Your Worship, so there's 2 different types of evaluation criteria that's offered to different departments that are tendering. One of them is just essentially, does it meet the spec and what is the price? So that was likely the evaluation criteria that was used for purchasing vehicles. For something like a project like this, though, we use a more in-depth which scoring, which basically looks at 85% of the mark is on the technical side of the proposal, and 15% is on the actual cost of the proposal. So in this case, there was only $500 difference in the two prices. So they scored very closely on the financial side, but CBCL scored much higher on the technical side.
Deputy Mayor Cody?
Yes, thank you. Just to follow up, Your Worship, I know
ahead,
this
sir.
project is a 50-50 cost share. This the engineering services, like, are we paying the full shot, or is this just half? Is the engineering services really, $140,000 or $138,000?
Councillor McLeod or Ramona?
Ramona can answer that, please.
So, Your Worship, this is the full cost of the design for the entire project. What the deal that we have with the province of PEI is we will receive $350,000 up to $350,000, which is a 50-50 cost share on the full project for the construction. So this is an eligible cost, so we could look to get 50% of that back, but we won't know exactly how much the construction is until we actually create the drawings. So it may be that, we'll likely get 50% on the drawings as well as 50% on the construction, but we'll be able to bring that back to council when we kind of have the construction estimates ready.
And Ramona, just to clarify, so the design is from Murchison Lane up to Mount Everett Road, correct? The full...
Yeah, so this is the complete design, but the pricing is also broken down into the three phases of the project.
Correct.
So the only eligible costs this year that we can recoup from the province are for phase one.
Yeah.
Next year we could recoup phase two design costs, and the next year phase three design costs. So it just makes it a little more complicated, but essentially, yes, this is cost shared 50-50 with the province.
And it's for the whole rent. Thank you. Any other questions?
Just clarification. I just wanted to add, Your Worship, I know we looked at this in finance too, and I think there's an active transportation fund coming through to the provincial government starting next year. So I think that's where the second and third phase was doing this. I think as Ramona said, it was cheaper to do the design of the whole project now. And the other thing, pricing is just one proponent of the scoring system, and so probably in the resolution or in the information, we probably should have listed the scoring because I believe, if memory serves me right, CBCL ranked number one in the scoring. Is that correct, Ramona?
Yes, it is, Councillor Bernard.
Yeah. Okay.
That was for price and technical component. Yeah. Any other questions?
Yes.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, scoring is only one section of pricing is only one section of the scoring.
15%.
So overall, my understanding is CBCL had finished number one in the total scoring.
Yeah.
Right.
Correct.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Kelly, you want to read the resolution? Did you read it? You did read it. Okay. My heavens, we're going so quickly. Question called?
Question called.
Okay. Councillor Yankoff?
In favor.
Councillor McLeod?
In favor.
Councillor Duffy?
In favor.
Councillor Tweel?
In favor.
Councillor Ramsey?
In favor.
Councillor Durant?
In favor.
Councillor Reverd?
In favor.
Deputy Mayor Cody?
In favor.
Councillor McKay?
In favor.
And Councillor Bernard?
In favor.
Thank you. Is that it, Councillor McLeod?
I would like to just bring the attention, and even Ramona can add something to this as well. Just wanted to give a shout out to T3 Transit. Challenging times for them as well, and they're doing quite a service there, helping people getting to work and to groceries and all the cleaning that's required with the COVID-19. So just a hats off to T3 Transit.
Very much. Thank you, Councillor. And I agree with that. I'm sure all of Council agrees with that. Okay. Next one is the Council Advisory Committee. Councillor McLeod?
Thank you, Worship. Council Advisory Committee did not meet since our last council meeting, and I have no resolutions. And if I have any questions, I'll try to answer.
Any questions? Well, councillors, I just want to say thank you. I know that we tried the Cisco, but hopefully by sometime this week we'll have WebEx up working, and that we'll be able to conduct a meeting with visuals. And again, I want to thank the staff that's been taking care of City Hall, Water and Sewer, Parks and Recreation, Police, Fire. Every component of the city is working well, and thanks to the staff for helping out. And thank you, councillors, for the city of Charlottetown. So we need a motion to adjourn? Or is it?
I'll move it.
Motion to adjourn? All those in favor?
I'll move it.
Yeah. All those in favor?